Welcome back to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. Today we are joined by Joe Carlucci, owner of Valentina's Pizzeria in Madison, Alabama, ranked the best pizzeria in the state and 31st in the entire United States. Joe is a 9-time world pizza champion and 2-time Guinness World Record holder. I'd love to hear more about that. Joe, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on here. I'm very excited about the discussion today.
It's great to have you on the show. Joe, before we jump in, can you tell our listeners a little bit about your journey that led you to where you are today?
Sure. I've been in the pizza industry for over 35 years, originally from Carmel, New York, and I used to be a consultant in the pizza industry. And I happened to take a job consulting in Huntsville, Alabama, and eventually moved down here and been here 15 years going.
Really, really cool. And so at the top of the show, I mentioned the 9-time world pizza champion. Can you tell us a little bit about what that competition is all about? And then I'd also love to hear about the Guinness World Record.
So there's competitions all over Italy in different regions, and they're considered world competitions, as well as Las Vegas, the International Pizza Show. So I used to compete in acrobatics. Think of a Harlem Globetrotter with pizza dough to music, with my world pizza champion founding member, Tony Gemignani, Siler Chapman, Michael Shepard, and myself. And then I got into the cooking side of competition, where I just recently won Best of Best in the World, and the prior 2 years for Best Traditional, Non-Traditional.
Amazing, amazing. That's really interesting. So there was two sort of aspects of it. So the acrobatics, which is not something that we hear too much on this show. Tell us about the Guinness. Which record do you hold in the Guinness World Record books?
I hold two Guinness World Records, one for highest pizza toss, which was 21.5 feet, where we did a show with the Food Network at the Mall of America in Minnesota. And then I did my other world record with Gordon Ramsay on the F word for largest pizza stretch in 2 minutes, which was 72 meters. Both very exciting and different than your typical Guinness World Records when you're, including pizza.
That's amazing. Really, really cool. What's Gordon Ramsay like? I've heard mixed reactions from Gordon Ramsay. I've heard he's a super, super nice guy, and then a little bit on the other side. What's he like?
I'll just say it's all show, nothing but love, 100%. Just down to earth, amazing person. I got to meet him twice because I actually was on MasterChef Junior throwing for the pizza for the kids on a episode when they were cooking pizzas. They asked me to come back out and do like a little acrobatic show for them. Very, very grounded, down to earth, behind the cameras, just an awesome individual and someone to actually get advice from and look up to in the industry of culinary.
I love Gordon Ramsay more than because of the fact we share the same first name, but I've been watching reality shows, even when he started in the UK, when he would visit, restaurants that were, on the brink of closure, and he fix them up and right side the team and everything. Big fan of Gordon Ramsay. That's really, really cool. So Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about, after several failed attempts, you've built Valentina's into one of the top pizzerias in the entire United States. What were some of the lessons that you learned from those early failures, and how do they shape your approach to Valentina's the way it is today?
I would say the early failures was like, back when you're growing in the beginning of this industry, you think you know everything. Being from New York, you have that kind of in your brain where, we're New Yorkers, we make the best pizza, and not willing to take advice from people around you in the industry and that have been in your shoes before, knowing that you think you know it, but you actually haven't even been in those steps yet. And people could see the way your direction you're going in, and you're not listening, you're not open-minded, you're more narrow-minded. And then the success of Valentina's is taking all those failures and looking into the mirror deep and saying, am I the problem or is the industry the problem? And you have to really do some soul searching in yourself and say, okay, listen, I'm willing to just open up my brain, open up my heart to listening and understanding that sometimes that you don't know everything. And you have to look at yourself a lot, I think, in this industry. And I believe that's the success of our Valentina's currently right now, is that I have a different approach, whether it's with my employees, my vendors, my customers. I have a total 180 approach, and it's been working ever since. So in my brain now, I'm like, okay, I'm not in the driver's seat. I'm in the passengers. I'm going to let the people around me drive. And I think in the restaurant industry a lot, owning a restaurant or pizzeria, we think we know everything just because we're the owner, but that's not really the truth. So, for example, I have a general manager who has a great background as an attorney. I have a bartender that has a mixologist degree in the industry. So I let them blossom what they know how to do. And then as long as everything comes together at the end of the day, it works for me.
That's really great. Yeah, having a lot of different perspectives is definitely a great way to manage a business.
So I think that the first thing that comes to mind as you say you're a New Yorker is that you don't speak like a New Yorker anymore. And that was a terrible accent coming from a Colombian. But it shows me, for some reason, I was expecting more New York the moment you said that. And it just shows how open-minded you are, which I think it's incredible. But I'm fascinated about the whole thing about the acrobatics. Like when you say acrobatics, you mean like the twisting and throwing the pizza dough around.
Three legs, juggling two at a time on the floor, behind your back. I mean, off your foot. Yeah, to music. Synchronized and choreographed to music.
Awesome. So, and before we move too far away from these records and stuff, because it's quite impressive. Now, as a world pizza champion 9 times and a Guinness World Record holder twice, what do you think sets award-winning pizzas apart from the rest?
The product, as far as Valentina's, is what we're using. Top-notch ingredients shipped from Naples, Italy. We use Caputo flour, which is non-bromated, non-bleached. When I'm competing in these competitions, I'm using a highly quality flour in my competitions, which, most pizzerias are using a bromated and bleached flour, which is totally different. It's harder to digest. My formula of the sauce that I'm using is the number one sauce in America in stainless sauce. So I'm using the highest ingredients of quality of ingredients that are going into my product.
So is that different? Like if you're going to a competition, then you bring the one that stretches the most, that sticks together the most, and is that different from your day-to-day Valentinas? Like how do you bring that level of excellence into your everyday operations at Valentina?
Every day I make a pizza, I'm stretching it, I'm throwing, I'm practicing. So when I go to those competitions for like the largest pizza stretch, I've been doing it for 20 plus years. So I'm bringing all those years, it's like practicing. You practice more than you play a soccer game, right? You practice more than you play a baseball game. So all the practice that I'm doing, I bring to the competition as well as I bring it back to Valentina. So it works both ways. You practice to be great, but you also be great to practice.
Oh, I love that. Practice to be great, great to practice. Now, I presume that, there is a work culture that you have created and that, especially has had a result in 2%. Which is incredible when you think about it, 2% turnover rate. How do you ensure your employees feel valued? And what are some key investments you've made to support their well-being and growth?
Well, number one is that my employees don't work for me. I work for my employees. That's number one. Number two, I set a culture. There's a standard. There's an expectation. Every single employee from male to female comes in the same exact uniform, from the socks to the shoes, to the jeans, to the shirt, to the apron. I supply the apron and the shirts. They buy the unisex jeans. Number three, no cell phones allowed in the building. Set expectations, set standards, not just for them, for myself as well. No cell phones, no earrings. So everything comes together. We have a break room we spend about $500 a month at Costco, and they write down what they want. We have two couches, a TV. I believe in investing in your people. So I hired a full-time life coach for any issues that they're having in life or even here. It's the drama that we have is not typical from a normal restaurant. It's more like brother, sister. I have some kids that since they were 14 have worked for me. I have a young lady that's been with me 10 years of all my journeys and failures, and she's seen it. I believe in investing in your people. I took life insurance out on some of my full-time employees where after 5 years, they can cash out and take that money and it's all theirs. My theory is hogs get slaughtered, pigs get killed. It's not all about me. It's about them. They make this place. Just because I'm a world pizza champion, in my eyes, doesn't really mean much. Because great leaders have great people behind them. But you have to invest in them and show them. So with the hours that we're open, 27 hours a week, we're not open for lunch except Saturdays. They have quality, we have culture, and we have a career. And all that comes together with also, compensation.
Beautiful. Life coach. Wow. Very, very smart. How did you get to that? To like, life coaches sometimes are perceived like, what is it that they do? And go to that. Did you get one yourself and then had a good experience, or how did that happen?
Exactly, sir. So I had a life coach in the location before I built Valentina's. I have ADHD and sometimes I can get off direction, and I just needed to know a little focus. Again, self-reflection. Just because you're a champion, just because you own a restaurant doesn't mean you're God's gift to the world and you know everything. So I had to do a lot of self-fixing first before I could help my staff. And one of the things was a life coach. As I grew with the life coach, I could notice a difference in my life. And I said, I just don't want someone to come work here as a stepping stone. I want them to be here. I want them to be wanted. I want them to feel wanted. And I want them to know that I believe in them and I'm 24/7 available for them, just like I would hope if I needed them. So the coach, offered, just maybe talk to them, see, what's going on with the new vision in the new place. Cause I had no idea what was going to happen. We went from a 1,500 square foot building to 5,000 square feet, from 10 employees to 50. And the hardest thing was managing personalities, because the 10 that were with me, we had a family meal every night. After work, we would talk, and now you're going to 50. And I saw, like, I want to say a high school clique where people were divided. And I didn't like that, because there's nobody better than anybody. Some people have been here longer, some people more experienced, but no one's better than anybody. I tell my staff every day, I want you to make a million mistakes. I just don't want you to make the same mistake a million times. That's all. And as I brought him on, people had asked, oh, can I talk to him? Can I talk to him? Because in this world, there's a lot going on outside. And I wanted to offer something to them where that could help them grow in life and also grow here.
Beautiful. I love it. There's no human can see behind their eyes. You need someone else to look for you.
Right.
Gordon.
Joe, you mentioned earlier about limiting lunch hours. That's obviously pretty uncommon in the restaurant industry, let alone pizzeria. How has this approach impacted both your employees and your overall success?
One, we're open 4 to 8. So they're not doing doubles. They're not working until 9, 10 o'clock at night and then being back here at 9, 10 in the morning. So they're coming in well rested, ready to work, and appreciative of not working 60, 70 hours a week. And also with our clientele, it has pushed, being closed Sunday and Mondays, or Tuesday to be a busy day because we're closed 2 days, a Wednesday limited hours. And our location is a little off the beaten path across from Cotton Field. And I just wanted to create the brand and the product so high that the demand to want it wouldn't matter if we open 50 hours or 25 hours. And that goes into the culture. It goes into the employees, it goes into the ambiance of the restaurant, and also their knowledge of the menu and everything that comes around with that.
So you've mentioned reinvesting, right? From earnings back into Valentina's to support its growth. How do you prioritize where to invest? And we've heard a little bit about your people. And what's your long-term vision for the restaurant as it continues to grow in popularity?
So that's a great question as far as reinvesting, because currently, we built the place on an acre of land and we're out of parking. So we hired a parking director on the weekends to direct where they could park. But also I did not vision the volume that we're doing in the short time we have. So now I have to make a decision. What's number one and what's number two? Reinvesting in the kitchen to get better equipment in there, because production has to be more efficient, faster, and safer. Or do I go look to buy some more land for parking? Because literally there's a 2-hour wait on the weekends. I'm blessed by God, and there's nowhere to park other than buying more land. So that's a question that I have to go over with my team, I have a financial advisor, my accountant, and see, number one, butts in the seat, put money in the pocket. But at the same time, if you can't get in the parking lot, it doesn't matter if you have all the equipment, right? So that's a great question that I'm still trying to figure out myself, because my numbers are way off the charts than I anticipated doing, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you have to figure out how do you reinvest, and reinvest the number one, number two, number three.
Right, without compromising the quality and the service
Yeah.
and the experience, because it sounds, I mean, when I go to a restaurant like that, for example, where and there's a few that come to mind, but the full experience starts from the planning, where I'm already anticipating it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, we're gonna be waiting, it's gonna be hungry, we're gonna be smelling it as we are outside. It's and you plan with a group of people, and it's just, oh, fantastic. I'm so happy that to hear that success is phenomenal, Gordon.
Yeah, Joe, I'm curious. That's a great problem to have, to be honest, right? You've got, a 2 hour wait. And, I'm curious, what role does delivery and takeout play in fulfilling orders? Like, well, let's say, I can't get a seat in the restaurant, but I really, really want a slice of the pizza. Does delivery and takeout, does third party play a role in
No,
fulfilling orders?
we don't deliver. I
No.
don't do any third parties. I don't allow it. I'm not allowing DoorDash, Yelp coming in with somebody that's going to put my product in their car without a bag or not care for it. And then my name is on that when it gets delivered. So we
Interesting
don't deliver,
approach. Yeah.
we don't deliver at all. We do online ordering and takeout, which we have now. We have like car service where we go out to the car. You text us when you're in the restaurant. So that's been more efficient, and we've been doing a lot more takeout. I'd say we do about 35% to 40% on online orders and takeout on the weekends. And
Yeah, like
online ordering because zero labor. The customers were actually working
yeah,
for you and paying for theirs.
right. Curbside pickup.
Curbside pickup. Yes, sir.
Awesome,
Interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah.
the pandemic? Speaking of, sorry, Gord.
No, no, go
How was
ahead.
during the pandemic?
I opened during the pandemic.
Oh,
I opened the 1,500 square foot location that was a food truck commissary that
oh
for
my
my food
God.
truck. So I opened right during it.
Buffett would be proud. You're going against the grain. People are
Yeah.
closing your opening.
That's amazing. Look, Joe, Valentina's isn't just a pizzeria, it's a destination for pizza lovers. You've clearly established that. Definitely going against the grain and against all odds, really. How did you build that reputation? And what advice would you have for other restaurateurs looking to create a similar draw for their business?
Well, I didn't create it. My team created it. I'm just one person out of 50 because without the dishwasher, without the cook, without the cutter on the online expo, there's no Valentina. So I can't sit here and say I created it. My team created it. Going out, competing, getting national recognition absolutely helps. But that's just the half of it. At any given time when a customer comes in, my staff can tell you what's the difference between our Sicilian dough, our tavern, Detroit, and New York. The process, we use a biga, which is a pre-fermentation type. So I educate them so they don't look stupid, so I don't look stupid. So I believe all of that makes it a destination because our customer service is the first priority, making sure the customer is satisfied to the highest degree, not just with quality of ingredients, but with ambiance, cleanliness of the restaurant, knowledge, and promptness. I think that all matters. And I think a lot of restaurateurs have to be open-minded, and it's okay to take advice, or not even advice, listen to your staff. They might have great ideas, and be open-minded to, it's 2024. Take seminars, listen to people that have failed and now making it, whether it's myself or others. I think the biggest thing in this industry is that we think that because we own a restaurant, we know everything and it's our way or the highway. And I just believe that approach doesn't work anymore. At least it didn't work for me all these years. And now the past 4 or 5, all I've seen is growth and success. And I can sit here right now to you and say, well, I did it because I'm a 9-time champion. I did it because I built a team and leadership.
That's truly an inspiring story, Joe. That's all the time we have for this episode. Now's your time to plug away. Where can people connect with you? What's your platform of choice?
I didn't see that question coming.
If another restaurateur is inspired by Joe's story and wants to learn more, where can he connect with you? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Facebook? Or do you want people to call the restaurant?
A movie maker looking for you. Where can they find you?
Well, I could tell you something once we go off the air. I'll tell you something else. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Joseph Carlucci, FJ Pizza, and then Facebook, Joseph Carlucci, or they can just call the restaurant. I would love to talk to other restaurateurs that are either struggling or success and just share stories and ideas. I think that's the greatest thing about this industry is we can help each other grow without being competitors.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing. That's amazing. Speaking of plugs, this podcast is sponsored by Dine Pricing, real-time restaurant profitability. Dine Pricing uses artificial intelligence to improve restaurant profitability by dynamically updating menus across digital channels like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. That's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks again to Joe Carlucci for joining us. Until next week, say goodbye, Jose.
Keep learning, keep going to conferences, and keep listening to podcasts. Goodbye, Jose.
That's amazing.
I appreciate it. It's been a great journey. So, if you guys are ever in Huntsville, Alabama, I got 2 rooms in my house and I got a restaurant, 150 seats. You're always welcome.
That's I appreciate it. We're definitely going to take you up on that. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you. Have
Joe,
a great day.
All right.
You too.
You as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.